never have allowed him to walk with Martin Luther King, Stokely Carmichael, James Meredith, or anybody else. So he just snuck out from home and started walking with them. And but he told me that he was there in Canton when they threw the tear gas at them because they were trying to deter them. Because Canton would have been the next to the last stop to get into the state capitol in Jackson, Mississippi. That was the last leg. But actually, it did deter a lot of people. He recalls that a lot of people, the tear gas got in their eyes and they got injured, and some people stopped walking with the walkers. But anyway, when they got to from Canton, the next day when they started back up, some of the people were living in tents, which the people had donated money for the tents and for other things for this mass protest or march. But anyway, when they got left from Canton, James Brown came and performed, and my uncle spoke in Tougaloo College. And while he was there in Tougaloo College, if you ever see the picture footage, you see what his head was shaved a little bit right here from that's from the wounds, the pellet wound. But anyway, he walked from Tougaloo College, and then they rode also on a truck, on the back of a truck standing up, and other people walked. But if you could just see the picture, the footage of all of those people walking up State Street in Jackson, Mississippi, which was a wide street even then. It was men were men and women and children by then were as wide as the street and as far as the eye can see. One historian said that it was by the time they made it to Jackson, there were 30,000 people in the crowd. And that would be Lerone Bennett. He gave that number. Some other historians gave a smaller number, but if you could just see how many people were just crowded across the street all the way down, I would have to go with Lerone Bennett's estimate, you know, because it was a sight to see so many people. Well, anyway, when they got there, people in the crowd said that they just felt elated. They were so excited, and they felt so much hope that actually change was coming, and that they were going to get the rights and privileges that we deserve. And change is hard, and it's slow, and it was definitely slow. It's slow, because even though we were beginning to register voters, it took many years before we could really have enough elect officials to really see some other changes. But it did happen. We did, but from what my research shows, it was the Black Power movement that really created the Black Caucus and really got out and got blacks elected in this country. And of course, they were standing on the shoulders of everybody who was involved in civil rights, everybody who marched, sang, walked, and used their voice to change America, Jim Crow, segregation, and all of the many, many injustices that we suffered during that era. I want to go, I guess that I could go to 2009. in 2009, I guess I have to go back to 68. One of the things that Martin Luther King did before he passed was start a campaign against poverty and poor. And in 2009, it's interesting because there are more incidents of poverty in America than any other industrialized nation even now. And in 2009, my uncle did a walk against the poor, and he came through the Delta. And of course, you all know that the 50th anniversary of him integrating Ole Miss was in 2012, and he refused to go down there to celebrate. Well, it was a very controversial event because some people felt that it was disrespectful for him not to go and celebrate. But actually, I was the most proudest because to me, he was using his voice to say, why should I celebrate education? I broke down the barriers for us to be able to obtain degrees that we couldn't obtain because during 50 years ago, we had our 3 black colleges and the big ones, you know, Valley, Alcorn, Jackson State College. But we couldn't become a pharmacist there. We couldn't become a doctor there. We couldn't really obtain a lot of the high-paying jobs from getting an education at our black schools because those curriculums were not available to us. And Dr. Harmon, who was my druggist when I was a child on Ferry Street, he said that one of the reasons why he was really, really rooting for my uncle to break Jim Crow barriers on the college level is because that's exactly what he wanted to be during World War II. He wanted to be a pharmacist. He worked for a white pharmacist in Yazoo City, Mississippi. And he told me I wanted to be just like that white man because everybody in the community looked up to him. He said that they used to say, that stuff you gave me sure did make me feel better. And to him, that meant something because he was so young. This was his role model, his idol. He wanted to be like him. To him, that was going to be something to be like him. But when he got out of World War II and tried to get, he tried to, everybody wanted him to go to Alcorn, Jackson State, or Mississippi Valley. And when he found out that he couldn't be a pharmacist in neither one of those schools, his dream was crushed. But anyway, somebody introduced him to a nun, and she wrote a letter and helped him get into Xavier. And he went, and I think he told me that he opened up his company, his pharmacy on Fair Street. It must have been the late 40s, 48 maybe, or it was 50. But anyway, that's one of the reasons why he was rooting for my uncle, because he told me when he was a boy, they were sharecroppers. And he said that when he was about 9 years old, when they would have to go out there and work in the fields, he said he just cried. He hated field work. He couldn't stand it. He cried so much that his mother let him go and work at the drugstore because everybody at that time had to work. You know, if you was old enough to go out and make some money and put it on the table, that's what everybody had to do.